Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr. And my attention was grabbed today by the news out of South Korea. I saw it on a BBC headline that Google surfaced on my phone. Sitting at a desk today, and I was in stunned disbelief that their president had declared martial law and that their National Assembly was kind of trapped inside their assembly building, and there's 190 of their 300 or so lawmakers there, and the armed forces were supposedly storming their building. And this was the military, not protesters, were doing this under the orders of their commander-in-chief. And it began about 10:30 last night, South Korea time, and their president went on TV and simply announced out of the dark that the country was now under martial law because the National Assembly, the lawmakers, were somehow collaborating, conspiring with North Korea against South Korea. And this had no basis in any factual anything. It was just something that this conservative president declared, and his military followed his orders. They went to the National Assembly building. The troops were lining the streets, and this is at night, and a lot of people had gone to bed, but not everyone. People started flooding out and protesting and saying that the president must resign. And it was just a very surreal scene as you're reading about it. Like, what? South Korea? Maker of all of our stuff, all of our TVs, all of our washing machines and dryers and refrigerators. They're a democracy. They're our staunch ally. Like, how is this even happening? And it simply happened because the president of their country declared it so. He was elected in 2022. He's under all kinds of fire. He's got a 20% approval rating that makes Trump's and Biden's look downright just like something they would long to have. Their 30s and 40s that our presidents always have. This guy has 20% approval rating. He is such a terrible person just in the 2 years he had been in office that this past spring, when their assembly was up for re-election, the DP, the Democratic Party, swept the elections. And so they're very hostile to him. And he's sick of it. They're blocking everything. They won't do anything to help him. And he just decides he's going to declare martial law and get rid of this National Assembly. I guess no one's really sure at this point what his plan was, or even if there was one. He could have just been sitting around and had this wild idea. His own people were caught completely off guard. They had no idea any of this was coming. So 190 of the 300 or so National Assembly that were there in the building barricaded themselves in, and they voted unanimously, both parties, the president's own party and the overwhelming majority, the Democratic Party, they voted unanimously to revoke the martial order of the president. I'm not sure that they can really do that either, but after a few hours, and so by now it's the middle of the night, and protesters are in the streets, and they're yelling. They're peacefully protesting. And I think it said around 4 in the morning, the president just as quickly revoked his own martial law and like, oh, never mind, everybody go back to bed. And the troops just immediately stood down and went back to their bases. And the U.S. has like 30,000 military personnel over in South Korea. We had no warning of this, no advance notice of this at all. This was purely, and what I'm describing here, I'm hoping you all get it. Like, this could totally happen here. Just one guy, the commander-in-chief, issuing the order, and it happens. And no one would ever know why. He just made something up, and all it takes are generals that are willing to follow those orders. And that's what he didn't have last time, our new guy, Trump. And he does have this time. This is mind-boggling that this could happen in South Korea. I don't know, but it absolutely could happen here, and this is our big fear. It took his own party standing up to him, along with the opposition party, and then he did back down. Trump didn't back down last time. Eventually, he got cold feet and called off the people storming the Capitol, but he's not going to do that again. There will be no cold feet this time around. Everybody will know exactly what the plan is this time around. Were something like that to take place again here. So what's to prevent that from happening? Well, nothing. That can absolutely happen. I was reading a little more about South Korea. They were a military dictatorship, even though they were allied with us, and up and through the 60s and 70s, and then in the 80s, they had their government was kind of reformed, I guess, and they had true democratic elections starting then, and but people, it's still a very corrupt country. And they basically have a small number of family-dominated businesses, family-run businesses. They're huge, like Samsung is one. Probably any Korean company you've heard of is one of these big, huge family-run conglomerates. And they have pretty much absolute immunity from any prosecution because they're in so tight with their government over there. The leaders of these families are. So they operate with total impunity. It's just a weird mix of democracy and dictatorship and oligarchy. It's kind of what Russia was before Putin really took things over and strong-armed everyone and just grabbed the country by the throat. It's what Russia had descended into. Not a strong government, just some really powerful businessmen over there that were calling the shots and everything. But you don't really realize, or at least I didn't, how fragile South Korea was. that a guy could just do this, and we know a guy could just do that here. But here we are, just a month and a half before Trump is inaugurated, and this happens. Meanwhile, over in Syria, okay, I guess we'll make this a foreign policy one, just a quick hit on Syria. You remember back in the Arab Spring in 2011, finally made its way up to Syria, and their brutal dictator, the Assad, whose family has run the country for decades, he had to get help from, like, major backing from Russia, Iran, Hezbollah, just to keep control of his country back in 2011, 2012. And he couldn't even keep the whole country. The northwest corner, the top left corner of it, has been basically under the control of rebels for a long time now. He finally got control of his country, I think, in 2016, except for that northwest corner. Just insurgents rushed in a few days ago and took over their second city, Aleppo. It just out of the blue. And the thing is, Hezbollah is completely decimated by Israel. Iran is fully engaged helping its terror clients in Lebanon and in the West Bank, and helping Russia. Russia itself is mortally engaged with Ukraine. They've got all their weaponry and their troops. So this was perfect timing by the insurgents in Syria to strike against Assad, because Assad's three backers are nowhere to be found. Russia did send some jets to bomb all the civilians there a few days later and kill a bunch of innocents in Aleppo. But I mean, things are getting crazy right now here at the end of 2024. And this is what Trump is going to step into. And all the talk about ending Ukraine in 24 hours, he doesn't even have to take office yet. Well, it's been 3 weeks, buddy. Where's your 24 hours? That's not happening. Not unless Ukraine just surrenders, because Putin has lost hundreds of thousands of lives of his own there that have just been brutally butchered and blown apart. And he's not going to just leave. We all knew this. He needs a part of Ukraine to call his own. And Ukraine to this point is not playing ball. So it didn't take 24 hours, Don. I don't know. This could, for all of our domestic agenda, tariffs, human rights, immigrants, deportation, all of this could pale in comparison to the world just on fire right now. And there is no one you would want in control less than Donald Trump. Meanwhile, over in France, Macron invites Trump yesterday to the grand reopening of Notre Dame this weekend. And that's shocking. But of course he would. That's the leader of the United States for the next 4 years. Any president would be invited to that. Any incoming president. It sucks that it is Trump, but the president of the United States is going to be invited to that event. And and Trump's going. So he'll be in Paris this weekend. There's just so much going on right now. So much to I don't know. So much to keep track of and to learn a little bit more about, or remind yourself of what happened 13 years ago and 12 years ago in Syria and what was going on in the entire Middle East. I don't know. We have to keep up with all of this, and we will. But that's all we have time for tonight. And we'll see what kind of bombshells we wake up to in the morning and come across throughout the day. But thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all, and we'll talk tomorrow.